All right, I'm pumped. So welcome everyone to the Stoa. Today, our friend of the Stoa, Tasshin Fogleman, is back with a three-part series today, tomorrow, and Friday on loving kindness meditation, but with a weird twist. The series is called Weird Metta. So yeah, I'll just tag in Tasshin now, and he can explain what we can expect, and we can just jump right in. Welcome to the Stoa, my friend.
Thank you, Peter. Appreciate this opportunity. It's good to see so many old friends and some new friends as well. Welcome you all here. Let's see, can you all just drop in the chat, if you're able to, why you came to this series, and if you have any prior experience with love and kindness at all. Just anything about that. Would love to hear from folks why they're interested and any prior experience that they have with metta. Great. Well, this is all really helpful. Thank you so much. I also just want to invite you, since this is, it's kind of like we're hanging out together for the next 3 days. If you have any thoughts or feedback or experiences during the 3 days, would really love to hear from anybody. You can find me on Twitter, or Peter, maybe you could drop my email in the chat as well. So I'll just start with a little bit of overview of the 3 days. If you can only make it to tonight, or 2 of the sessions, or 3 of the sessions, it's all good. You're going to get some weird metta on whatever you participate in. But I'm hoping and that all of you will be able to join all 3 sessions, because we're going to be kind of building up over the 3 sessions. So tonight's going to be kind of like Weird Metta 101. We're going to talk about how to do metta practice, what it is, why it matters, and I'm going to sort of impart my own flavor of it for you so that you can get a sense of it. And ideally that'll sort of transmute with where you're coming from, and you'll take it on and it'll become your own thing. You'll find your own way of doing metta that really resonates for you, for where you're coming from, conceptually, but also in your body, what really makes your body light up with these feelings. So that's tonight. And then tomorrow we'll talk about how to embody metta, how to bring those feelings of love and care and friendliness into your body, and how you express it with your body. And then you guessed it, third night, we're going to be dancing together. We're going to bring it into dance, and it's going to be epic. I am so pumped for this. Hopefully it's just wild. The greatest dance party you've ever attended. Unfortunately, it's going to be on Zoom, but that means we can all hang out together. So it has its own advantages, but hopefully we're having a blast. Not just really good tunes. We have a great playlist queued up for Friday, but also really feeling the practice, that you can bring it into the way that you dance, and that it brings you a tremendous amount of joy. That's my hope. Yeah, that's my hope for all of us. So that's the sneak preview for the 3 days. As I said, if you can just make it tonight, that's great. You're gonna hopefully enjoy it and benefit from it as well. But ideally you can make all 3, because we're building up to an epic dance party. It's gonna be great. Yeah, so for tonight, I'm going to give a little bit of talk. I'll keep it as short as I can, and then we'll do some guided practice. We'll do a guided meditation together, weird metta guided meditation, and then we'll have some time at the end for some discussion. Just any kind of comments or questions or reports will be fair game at the end. How does that sound? Good? All right, love it. Okay. Yeah, so let me just talk a little bit about metta in general. I'll keep it as brief as I possibly can. Metta comes from Buddhist practice, although a lot of religious and spiritual traditions have similar related things. Metta is one of the 4 Brahma Viharas, or the divine abodes. There's also, so metta is like friendliness. It's a sense of friendliness or care for others. Then there's mudita, which is happiness, sympathetic joy for other people's happy experiences. So if someone gets a promotion, you're happy for them, that's mudita. Then there's karuna, which is compassion. You notice that someone's suffering, that they're hurting, and you feel for them. You have compassion for them. And then there's upekkha, which is equanimity. That means that you're not clinging to an experience, you're not pulling it towards you, and you're not pushing it away, trying to make it go away. And these 4 kind of all interrelate and support each other, but metta is just one of these four, and it's my favorite. So good news, we get to practice some metta together. And typically it's talked about as like friendliness, but the way I think about it is just pretty much the whole spectrum of positive emotions. You're learning how to cultivate for yourself positive emotions. So happiness, joy, gratitude, love, care, affection, delight, all of that, different flavors of positivity are all possible through metta practice. And you're essentially learning how to cultivate these things. So the way that metta usually is taught, trade secret here is god awful and boring. It's terrible. It's really bad. It's awful. It's like the way that they teach math in school. You know, it's not exciting or interesting most of the time. I mean, maybe there's an amazing teacher here or there that like really imparts why it would be interesting, but math is actually really, really cool, but it's not taught in a cool or exciting or inspiring way. So it's the same with metta, unfortunately. The way that it's usually taught, you have these stock phrases like, may you be happy, okay? And you start with yourself, and that's good. And then you send it to your close loved ones and friends and family, and that's good. And then you send it to acquaintances, people that you know kind of a little bit, neutral people. And then you send it to enemies, and that's good. You're feeling friendly towards them. You're healing, it's good. And then you send it to all beings. And that's good, it works. It makes sense that it's built up that way. I like it, there's a reason for it. But it can also be very dry and very boring and not fun or interesting. I practiced that way for the first 2 or 3 months of my loving kindness practice a few years ago, and it was just excruciatingly dull. I would just say these phrases over and over again and feel like I wasn't getting anywhere with it. So that's really what I'm hoping to spare you, is 3, 4, 6 months of boredom and just get right to the juicy stuff, the really good stuff. This is an extremely powerful psychotechnology that can just light your nervous system up, fill you with unexpected amounts of joy, and you don't have to buy anything or, you know, take a drug or be in any particular circumstance. You can just do this anytime and be extraordinarily happy. And there's no limit to it. You can just keep getting happier and happier. So that's what I'm hoping to impart through these sessions, is how to be happy anytime, anywhere, any place, for no external reason whatsoever. So along those lines, the traditional way it's practiced is totally fine. If you're familiar with that, if it works for you, that's great. It's good to know about. Like, there's a reason that that structure exists, that those phrases exist. But I want to invite some creativity and playfulness and experimentation into how you do this kind of practice. And so I had to find how to put it. I had to experiment and play with what kinds of ways of practicing metta really worked for me, for my mind conceptually, for my body, and for my nervous system, what really consistently had these kinds of effects on my emotions and my nervous system. And that requires play. It requires experimentation. And I want to really empower you to do that kind of experimentation tonight and through the 3 sessions. So the kind of ground rules for that are, you can use, basically metta is built off of mental talk, different phrases, and mental images, visualizations. And then those things affect your nervous system and your emotions and cause emotional body sensations. That's basically the formula, is you use either or both mental talk and mental images, and then that causes an emotional body sensation, and then you can enjoy that. So talk, image, sort of resonates in the body. And from that perspective, you can use any talk whatsoever. You can use any image whatsoever. And in fact, you can really explore and ride and learn about a whole territory of positive emotions. It's not just one flavor, it's a whole spectrum, a whole palette of possible feelings in the body. So, you know, I'll be making some suggestions tonight in the guided practice about how to do this, but feel free to try anything out. You can use any phrase, any talk whatsoever. You can use any image whatsoever. And if something really lights up for you, if it makes your body respond, I want you to notice that, really notice that and remember that. and really carry it through each of these sessions. Like, oh, if I say this phrase, it makes me extremely happy. Like, go with that. It's probably not a phrase that I've ever used. It's probably not a phrase that anyone else here has ever used, but remember it for yourself. Oh, this is what really lights me up. If there's a specific image, that comes to mind, a memory, a fantasy, something like that, remember that. Keep it with you. Honor it. Let it infuse your body with love. Yeah, hopefully I kept that pretty quick. That's the spiel. It's pretty straightforward. Any image, any talk that makes you happy is fair game. So get weird, get playful, get creative with it. We'll do some practice now, a guided meditation for something like 30 minutes or so, and then we'll have some discussion at the end. And feel free to be in any body position that you like for this meditation. I'm not really big on sitting meditation these days, so feel free to lie down or sit in a chair or cushion or stand up or walk. Doesn't really matter so much. You don't have to be still. Take care of your body, do what feels good. Yeah, so we'll do about half an hour of practice and then we'll have some time to talk, and I'll be curious to hear how it goes for you. Good, so begin by finding a position that feels comfortable for you and your body right now. As I said, maybe it's sitting, but might be lying down, might be standing, might be moving. It's all good. But take time to allow your body to become comfortable. Good, and once you've found a position that feels comfortable, take a moment to really enjoy that. It's a small pleasure to find a comfortable position for your body, but it's a valid pleasure and a wholesome one. So really enjoy the comfort if that's available for you. Good. And take a moment to investigate your experience of your body right now. In particular, if there's any muscular tension present, maybe in your jaw or your shoulders, your arms, your legs, your feet. If there's any muscular tension anywhere in your body, see if you can invite that tension to relax, to loosen, to let go. Allow your body to be comfortable and relaxed. And again, really enjoy that. It's a small pleasure to relax your body, but it's a significant one. So enjoy it. Good. Now invite a gentle smile to your face. A gentle, easy smile. Doesn't have to be a huge grin. Just a light, easy, gentle smile. When you smile, the chemistry in your brain and nervous system changes to gently ease you in the direction of happiness. So we want to invite and allow that process just by bringing a gentle, easy smile to our faces. And again, if there's any happiness associated with that, really enjoy it. If at any time you become uncomfortable in your body, you can shift positions. If at any time your body becomes tight again, you can relax. And if your smile fades at any time, you can gently return a smile to your face. We want this to be like home base for metta practice. Comfortable body that's relaxed with a gentle, easy smile on your face. And just this is already metta, is already loving kindness practice. Throughout this practice period, if any time you notice any enjoyment at all of any kind, really notice and savor that. Like you're enjoying a delicious meal or watching a beautiful sunset or looking into the eyes of a lover. Even the smallest happiness or pleasure or joy, allow yourself to enjoy that. We prepared the body for metta practice, and now we'll use that momentum to prepare the mind for metta practice. Take a moment to reflect on anything in your life that you're grateful for. Probably all of us on this call had food to eat today. Probably all of us had a place to sleep last night. And I'm guessing that many of us have friends that we can trust. Consider the things in your life that you're grateful for and reflect on them. We're using our mind to consider these things. That might be phrases in our mind, talk, and it might be images or visualizations, reflecting on the things that we're grateful for. That may have a response in the body. For example, it could broaden your smile or bring warmth to your heart. If there's any response in the body, notice that and enjoy it. Continue to reflect on things that you're grateful for another moment. Very good. Now we'll begin to do some metta practice. Consider someone in your life, perhaps a real person or an animal, or maybe even an imaginary person or animal. It's easy for you to love. I like to use my nephew or different animals that I know, dogs and cats. Or sometimes I think about pandas or penguins. Doesn't really matter so much. Pick a person or animal, real or imaginary, that's easy for you to love. An uncomplicated form of love, simple and pure. See this person or animal in your mind's eye, visualizing them. And set forth an intention that this person or animal that's easy for you to love might be happy. You're wishing that they would be happy. You can use a phrase like, may you be happy, or I want you to be so happy, or simply, I love you. See this person or animal in your mind and use talk, phrases to wish they'd be happy. Any phrase you like, really. Doesn't matter so much. You can use the same phrase over and over again every few seconds. I want you to be so happy. I want you to be so happy. I want you to be so happy. Or you can use many different phrases, alternating, experimenting, playing, exploring. In any case, use your mind's eye and mental talk to wish that this person or animal would be happy, to wish them well, to express love and care for them, friendliness. And of course, if there's any resonance in the body, any response, feelings, really enjoy that. Very good. Now continue with that momentum, but make a change of some kind. Tweak how you're approaching this. You can use a different person or animal. You can use a different image in your mind. You can use a different phrase or different phrases. Make some kind of change in how you're doing the technique. You can use any person or animal. You can use any phrase in your mind. You can use any kind of image or visualization. It's all fair game. Really allow yourself to explore, to try things, to experiment, to play. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Enjoy that freedom, that possibility. And out of the corner of your eye, in the background, notice how that's making your body respond. What kind of emotions, if any, are present for you? Is that stronger or weaker than the way you were doing metta previously? If there is any response in the body, any positive feelings that arise, totally enjoy them, savor them, soak them in. Very good. Now make another change. If you changed who you were sending metta to before, try exploring how you send metta. If you changed what phrases you use or how you use them, change what image you're using. If you change what image you're using, try a different phrase. If you have an intuition of something you'd like to try that's different, give that a try. No right or wrong way to do this. Just try something out. Explore. And as you run this particular experiment, again, notice how that makes your body feel. Maybe it makes you feel happier. If so, great. Notice that, enjoy it, and remember it. Tried and true way to make yourself happy. If it didn't make you happier, no problem. Now you know. You can try something else. It takes experimentation, play, and creativity to find a form of metta practice that really works for you, really allows your emotional body to light up. Give yourself the time and space to do that experimentation, that exploration. Most important thing is that if there's any positive emotional response in the body, that you really enjoy it, even if it's small. If it's small, it's like someone baked a tiny, perfect cookie just for you, and you get to enjoy it. So really enjoy it, even if it's small. The strange thing about this kind of cookie is if you really enjoy it, it grows and grows and grows and grows. And there's no limit to how big this cookie can get. So really enjoy it. Good. Now take a moment to look back on this practice period. Consider the different experiments you tried, the different approaches you took. In particular, recall if any way of doing this practice, of approaching this technique, really allowed your emotional body to experience joy, pleasure, delight, friendliness. Recall what your experience was like and what seemed to cause your body to respond, if anything. You'll want to remember that. Keep it precious, hold it close. So reflect. What was it like for you? And what worked? Good. As you're ready, you can come out of the meditation. We'll have some time to discuss. There's a fair number of people here, but I'd love to hear any reports that you have about what that was like for you. If there are any challenges or discoveries, if there's any questions, if something I said didn't make sense. Packed a lot in there in the guided meditation, mostly so we can make use of that all week for each of the sessions. We'll have multiple chances to practice this. So Yeah, but if anything didn't make sense, I'd love to hear that. If you had a challenge, I'd love to hear that. If you had a success, something you discovered or enjoyed, I'd love to hear that as well. Feel free to share.
And feel free to just jump off mute or put anything in the chat.
I found that like feeling pleasant sensations of relaxing my body was probably the most powerful thing for me. And I kept whenever like the image got fuzzy in my head, I just kept coming back to that, and that was kind of my favorite part of the practice.
Wonderful. Nice work, Jonas.
I'll share a bit. For me, I really, really appreciated when I was sensing into my body the sort of maintenance of balance between an area I found really, really restful in my body, which for me is just my forearms and sort of the blood flowing through them. And then a little bit of back pain. And then I noticed that if my attention shifts too much to the back pain, I lose this sort of broader sense of comfort. But if it ignores the back pain, then the back pain sort of like spikes up in sharpness and starts trying to crave my attention. And so I had to find this nice balance of being able to hold both in my awareness and use the sort of restfulness in order to ease into my experience of the back pain. So for me, that was especially rich. I just wanted to voice that.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. One of the things I'm most excited about right now is how caring for the body is a form of metta practice. I do a lot of like qigong and tai chi and dance, of course, which we'll get to explore later this week. And that's a form of metta practice, just caring for the body. It feels good. It's nice. It's enjoyable. And, you know, I was talking earlier about how there's a whole spectrum of different emotions and experiences that are positive in the body, and anything that allows us to access that of any flavor is basically metta as far as I'm concerned. So noticing relaxation in your body and attending to pain in a way that eases that experience for you is also totally on that spectrum. So thank you for sharing that. So sometimes metta can be quite hard or challenging, actually. It seems like 20 or 30% of the time for people, it's really hard for a number of reasons. So I'd love to hear if anyone was like, that was terrible. It was extremely hard. It brought up a lot of suffering for me. You know, I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky guy, but you're welcome here if this was a hard experience for you. I'd love to hear that and work with that to make this available for you too. Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, because that was my experience. And it was actually, I was about to say, it was sort of an interesting parallel to what I think Yuli just said, because I had the experience of being in a great deal of emotional pain as a result, and then sort of tending to that emotional pain in myself was actually like a route that I started sort of feeling more like what it sounded like the sort of target was to be feeling. I got in sort of a loop of like, I'm supposed to be experiencing this in a particular way, and that was distressing for me.
Would you mind sharing a little bit about the particular kind of emotional pain you're experiencing? If you don't feel comfortable with it, that's fine.
Sorry, it's gonna be a little. Just a lot of frustration and anger at myself for like not being able to do it. Like, and that's not an expectation that I think you put out there. That's an expectation that I inherently sort of have for myself.
Sure, I gotcha. Well, that's really helpful. Thank you. So I want to share a few things in general about when metta is hard, because there's a number of reasons that it can be hard, and then I'll speak to this issue in particular. So rule number 1 of metta, you never have to do metta. You also never have to send metta to anyone in particular. You can send metta to whoever you want. So for some people, it might be hard to send metta to a specific person that hurt them or that's, had difficult experience with. You don't have to send metta to that person. Maybe it's hard to send metta to yourself. That can be really hard. You don't have to send metta to yourself. So you don't have to do metta, and you don't have to do it in any particular way. You don't have to send it to a particular person. There's also no right or wrong way to do it. So this was actually a great experience that you can learn from and iterate on, that over time you kind of learn how to do it in a way that feels good for you. And that takes some trial and error and experimentation. So, it's a learning. So there's that. As far as this particular issue of like having a hard time feeling frustrated at yourself, having these expectations, I talked earlier about how the traditional way that it's taught of you start with yourself, and then you do friends and loved ones or spiritual teachers, and then you do neutral people or acquaintances, and then enemies, and then all beings. And that's from self to all beings. One spectrum there is like broadness of people reached, but another spectrum is sort of from easy to hard. Traditionally, it was considered it's easiest to send it to yourself and hardest to send to all beings. But for us these days, it can actually be the opposite, where it's like anyone other than us is a lot easier to send love to or feel cared for. And that's totally valid. It's a very normal experience with metta, and you don't have to send yourself love. You can, that's why we started with trying to find someone, a person or an animal that's easy for you to send love with, like babies or pets or animals are really good choices, but a good friend or something like that. They can also be like a fictional character or something, or if there's a religious or spiritual figure that you connect with, you can use those. You can get very creative, anyway, but you want to start with what's easy. And, I was talking earlier about how it compares to math class, right? And math, like there's like harder forms of math that are more advanced and are like better than lower forms of math. That's kind of the way that it's taught in school. And I think we have that really ingrained in us on a deep level, that when we're learning something, like we have to be better at it and gain more skill at it. But actually with metta practice, like you want it to be easy and enjoyable and delightful. And if it's easy and enjoyable, like you're doing great. So you want to just find the easiest way that you can to do it and stay with that. And it doesn't have to be hard. You're not doing it wrong. If it's easy, you want to know what's easy for you. And of course, that does take some experimentation, but it doesn't have to be yourself. And actually, you don't even have to do metta, right? Like if it's just too hard, you can be like, heck no, not tonight, another day, I'll come back tomorrow. That is itself self-compassion, right? Like this is just too hard today, right? So you can go and do something else. You can go for a walk or go for a run or talk to a friend, or that's all metta, that's self-care. So I hope there's something in there that's useful for you, Alice, and also for anyone else that may have had a difficult experience. Pretty normal. And it's oh, the other thing I'll say about that is there can be sort of 3 difficulty levels of it's easy to do, in which case, great, enjoy it. It's extremely hard, in which case, don't do it. You don't have to do it, or you don't have to do it that way, no problem. But there can be like a medium difficulty level where it's like a little bit hard, it's a little challenging, but it's not impossible, or you're not like torturing yourself or something. That's a really fruitful territory if it's medium level difficulty, because often the emotions that come up, like sorrow or grief or anger or frustration, are actually like the doorway to a deeper form of love or a deeper form of care, but you have to go through the difficult emotion. So this is very confusing, because I'm talking about how it's all about positivity and enjoyment and love and friendliness and all of these positive vibes. But like part of the reason I got to this degree of positivity is because I've been through a lot of suffering and like felt that and resolved it and learned from it and integrated it and grew from it. So if it's at that medium level of difficulty, that's actually a really good sweet spot for metta practice. If it's like, oh, this is a little hard, this is challenging, that's okay. That's okay. If it's impossible, or just like you're torturing yourself, just lay off, no problem. don't have to do it. Do something else. You know, don't hurt yourself. And of course, if it's easy, that's great. Enjoy. Just keep enjoying. You're doing great. So hopefully that sort of difficulty level metaphor helps as well. Yeah, hi, Rosa.
Hi, Tasshin. I wanted to thank you. I found myself really drawn to just kind of doing a mindfulness practice and enjoying listening to your voice as I was washing the dishes. And I really enjoyed not being alone washing the dishes, and it didn't feel like an onerous task. It just felt like, you know, soapy water and something that needed to be done. And I just really enjoyed your voice, and I wanted to mention that. I found it, you know, really soothing, and I love the orientation to giving ourselves time to savor whatever is feeling good and finding different ways of feeling good and experimenting. So just really appreciated it and wanted to thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Rosa. Yeah, voice is extremely powerful. So I've been working on that, and embodiment's also powerful. So we'll be working on that tomorrow, how to bring the body into it. You got a little chance to explore that with the dishes. I want to give you all some homework though, if you're coming tomorrow or the next day. It's very straightforward. It's very easy. It's very enjoyable. Keep enjoying. Notice how this affects your perception. Notice what shifts for you from tonight, from this experience, from this technique. And if there's any enjoyment or satisfaction or joy or happiness, let that change your behavior. Let it change how you show up with people, how you talk to people, how you interact with them, and let that be the metta practice. So we worked on kind of perception side of things tonight with the guided meditation. Notice how it affects your life and your behavior, and bring that out. Be friendly to people, be kind to people, and enjoy that as well. Bring it out into the world so that people are touched by this, even if they didn't make it. And keep doing that for the next few days as an experiment. Yeah. And hope to see you tomorrow night. It's going to be round 2. And then, of course, for the dance party on Friday, the big epic climax of weird metta. Yeah, it's going to be wonderful. So thank you all for coming tonight. Real joy, real pleasure. And feel free to be in touch, as I said, if you have any feedback or questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you. Yeah.